Um, there's like a 5 second delay between the image and the sound.
Okay, I don't seem to have that delay on my side, which is good.
Oh.
So we've got Chad here already. Hello, Chad. There are 6 people here already. You are slightly out of frame, so if you could move to your left a little bit, or rather, if you could center, if you're going to move the phone, if you move it to your right, then that's it. That's it. Yeah, perfect.
There we
Slightly
go.
skewed, but that's fine because it is the apocalypse. You know, your building probably is half
Yeah.
collapsed. Of course, while
Soon.
we wait for the stragglers, because there was 6, there's 4 now. I don't know. Anyway, there's only a few survivors. Clearly, there's 6 again now. While we wait for the stragglers, just to make sure that you have your survival kit. Obviously, this is a pretty heavy dose of grappa right there.
I have the most bog standard.
Oh no! Yeah. Oh, that's just foul. That is wrong. That is wrongness right there. He's obviously one of the evil survivors.
It's drinkable.
No, it's not. It's trash. Invented by Scotsmen and then perverted by Americans. I can't think of anything worse. A bunch of sheepshaggers that then got polluted by Americans. No. Oh, we got the High Priestess.
Well.
We haven't seen her in a long time.
It certainly has been a while.
And Carlos, and we've got Macellerate. Oh, Macellerate's been waiting for this. And Poster Child. Huh. I don't know if I've seen Poster Child here before. I think I might need to take another sip of strong grappa. By the way, this is like kind of a lethal amount of grappa, but I am talking with Woolly Ram, so. You'll
I've
notice
actually
that.
been a very good Catholic boy for the last 40 days, and I haven't had any alcohol.
Oh, well done. So, am I just corrupting you now?
Honestly, I'm also trying to test to see how I'm going to react to the alcohol.
Oh, I know how you're gonna react. I've gone 6 months dry before, and then I ate like a little chocolate liqueur, and I was half pissed. So this is gonna be an interesting stream.
Maybe. I've always had a unhealthy capacity for alcohol, even as a kid. So.
Well, you are a big dude, so let's see. Oh, it's filling up. We got 10 people now. And okay, so yes, the stream tonight is going to be about the zombie apocalypse, and I think the chat can participate. So if you want your particular zombie apocalypse scenario to be looked at, you just write it in the chat. Tell us your circumstances or the hypotheticals and whatever. So my hypotheticals are: I'm in a pretty rural area of northern Italy. So mine would be sort of a rural zombie situation. I think Wooly is in a city in Israel, I believe.
Yep, Jerusalem.
Ah, well. So he's the last human, obviously there. Since it's a
feels like it sometimes.
Wannabe Catholic.
Certainly feels like it sometimes.
And so we're gonna start out with really like out there scenarios, and then like work our way to something a bit more realistic. So okay, I think the easy one that we can just easily all get through is the slow zombie apocalypse. So somehow, mind you, given the recent fake pandemic, we have seen that the stupidity of people is extremely high, and that in fact The Walking Dead was probably not just a crappy zombie apocalypse scenario, but almost a documentary. Because when I was watching The Walking Dead, I was like, how stupid are these people? I mean, like, they're slow zombies. I don't even need a gun. Slow zombies just need an axe, a machete, something, good brick.
Yeah, but the whole point of The Walking Dead was that people are a lot more dangerous to other people than zombies.
Yes, but they still got bitten by zombies every damn episode.
Yeah, I mean, that's a different problem of just, modern storytellers just can't write intelligent characters. It's actually one of the things that has caused me to drift away from most fiction,
Yeah.
because characters are so bloody stupid. I can't relate to them.
Yes, and of course the degradation of fiction and science fiction and fantasy and so on has of course happened as a result of SJW infiltration in the stream, really. But to get back to the zombies,
They're actually trying to get into Japan right now, and thankfully, the Japanese people
yeah, good
are
luck
having
with that.
none of it.
I mean, the Japanese are freaks
The
themselves.
The Japanese government is starting to buckle. The Japanese people, on the other hand, they don't seem to have any interest.
Good.
Yep.
And in fact, I hope to go the other way. I hope they become fully. They let their natural racism come out even more.
Absolutely. To the xenophobia of the Japanese.
Indeed. So, okay, let's start with the slow zombies. There's Franz Lionheart here says, London, no survival chance. See, I lived in London, and why I admit that, with small children and so on, it would be very, very difficult to survive in London. But when I was there, I did think about the zombie apocalypse when I was living just with my wife and her daughter, which is about 2.5. Now, admittedly, her daughter would have got us killed because that little girl, quiet, and her, she has no concept. I mean, she babbles in her sleep, honestly. She has zero ability to hide. Like, hide and seek for her is like, I'm just gonna stand right here in the middle of the room and I'm hiding. Like, that's not how it works. It's like, it's just, so that would have been a bad one. But potentially, and I was living on the 16th floor of an apartment there, that's for some time. I was like thinking, yeah, zombie apocalypse happens and it's slow zombies. I would just stay quiet in my apartment. It had a pretty good solid door, unlike most places in London. Zombies are pretty dumb. Maybe if you get unlucky and they'll infiltrate the building, but even then, you could, dangerous, but you could hop from your balcony to the next door neighbors or to the next door neighbors or below. There was no one.
The limiting factor on survival is always water. So the question is,
right.
Do London tenements, do they have like a water storage tank on the top floor to ease pumping?
No, but the thing is, London is completely filled with idiots, as it is. And the water supply runs. So you open the tap, water comes out. And I think it would take a huge amount of effort. It would take like probably weeks before I think your tap stops running water. I might be wrong. You might get unlucky, right? The pipe gets burst in the road down to you, from you because whatever, bus crashes, and then you're screwed. But if you had any inclination, if you had any idea that the zombie apocalypse was coming, there was a shop directly below us. And if you started saying, oh, zombies are coming, I would have just gone straight down there. Zombies or no zombies, I would have picked up all the water, all the fluids there. And there was a restaurant next door, 2 or 3 restaurants actually. So there was places where, the guy my size, and in London you don't have guns, but whatever. I've got a knife, I've got an axe. I'm taking that water, thanks. I'll leave you 3 bottles if you don't make me kill you. Otherwise, I'll take all of it. So that would have been my strategy. And also, if you're just lying quietly in an apartment and you've got a bit of food, you don't need that much water. You can survive quite easily on half a liter of water for a long time if you're not doing strenuous exercise. So my plan would have been to just wait it out until as many of the humans as possible have now become zombies. I think we've got the late caller. Yeah, there he is. Let's see. Okay, guest is in the green room. Let's add him to the right. There you go. You're a bit big in the.
Hello, gents. How you doing?
You need to move back a little bit because we're just seeing your ear basically. And shift the camera. That's it. And if you can lower or either lower yourself or lift the. That's it. Good.
Okay.
You're cutting off the top of
Got
your
this
head,
to do.
which is, you know, I mean, the zombies.
Yeah, I know. I can see myself in the feed, so I'll see if I can just sort this out. But speak amongst yourselves.
Well, it's okay. So you do that. So Tony is. He helped me do a couple of videos in the last day or so. So he now knows what it's like to be on the receiving end as a zombie. But yeah, so we're
Well, it's all
talking.
part of the learning process.
You know,
Well, at least that's what you tell me anyway.
if we were in London, he's also got his what's your poison of? Okay, stop filling. That's it. Stay right there. That's it. Don't move.
No, no. All right, I'm done now. I'm done. I'm going.
Good. He knows what's coming next if he does move. So I've got grappa. I think Woolly Ram has got some filthy
Coke and
Jack Daniels and Coke, and you've got a red bottle of wine, I think.
I've got red wine, and you know me, I'm English, so I can differentiate between white, reds, and some people talk about pink, but that's just blasphemy.
Right.
That's about it. No.
Pink
It's
is
not
the best,
beer,
man.
so I'm having a really fancy night in.
Anyway, so I think the zombie apocalypse in London would be tough to survive, but if you're smart, really vicious, and you know, the thing about being on the 16th floor is I think you'd have to deal with the other people on that same floor that are still human. Those are the people you'd have to deal with first. So, being as I am the way I am, my plan would have been zombie apocalypse happens. It'll take a time for the zombies to start to go on the high-rise buildings because they're kind of dumb. And
you know, I'm just thinking about this actually. Average Londoner has the stamina to climb 16 flights of stairs.
Yeah, most of them won't, but that's my point. You know, the other guys will be thinking the same thing. Oh, I'll just stay locked up in my own apartment, and then they'll make noise, they'll attract people. So my plan was, if the zombie apocalypse happens, I kick the doors in of all the other people on the 16th floor, kill them all, and then I've got all their water and their food. So that was my plan number one. Then I've got also the whole floor. I can block off the elevators. There's only one stairways to come out. You know, even if there's 1,000 zombies, just get a hammer, stand at the top of the stairs, and just keep whacking away. You know, you'll be fine. So as long as you've got water, like you said. So that would have been my strategy. But then I moved, and I was in a house with a little garden with crappy security. You know, the doors were shit, and that would have been horrific to survive that. Also because of the other humans. So yeah, London would be a tough one. But now, tell me what you think. I think we'll start with Woolly since, you know, he was here on time. And I'll quickly read the chat while he tells us what he thinks. His scenario. Slow zombies. We're only doing slow zombies for now. We'll get to fast zombies.
Daniel Pereira shares your sentiment about Jack and Coke.
Well,
anyway, so Jerusalem itself.
I think it's Portuguese, so it's only half human, but even he can recognize, you know.
So, I mean, Jerusalem as a city, firstly, it was never planned. So it's like blotches of, it's a whole bunch of like smaller cities that are officially called Jerusalem, and each one is on its own little hill. There's actually a law prohibiting building in the valleys. So there's no actual building in the valleys of Jerusalem, only on the mountains, on the mountainsides.
What's the purpose of that?
And there's another law to preserve the natural layout of the land, because if you let people just build without without any restriction, they'll fill up every square centimeter they can with buildings.
Yeah.
And there's also a prohibition on building tall residentials.
Okay.
So residential buildings here are rarely above 4 stories high.
All right. So you're pretty deep in it.
Now, I personally live in what's called the German colony.
Okay. So they've got more ovens? I'm not sure what that means.
Let's put it this way. I don't think any of the humans in this neighborhood are any threat to me.
Okay, good.
I mean, we're talking about soy slurpers, tofu munchers.
Oh. You're giving me an education on Israel I didn't have.
I mean,
So,
this is just
so on a slow zombie apocalypse where you are, your chances of survival, what do you estimate? Like 10%, 100%?
the thing. If I have warning, and the water, still keeps flowing for a while, I'm pretty good because Israel has very good doors for
Yeah.
obvious reasons.
Yes, it's full of Jews.
Doors tend to be they're basically made of metal, reinforced steel, and it's like with the cylinders
Yeah,
that go
Italy's
to
the
the
same.
lock and
Yeah,
up and down as well.
yeah, Italy's the same kind of doors.
Yeah, so the doors don't worry me. What does worry me is because everything here is in such different elevations, and because temperatures here during the summer, I mean, right now we're in the middle of a heat wave. If again the real limiting faction is no, not faction. The real limiting factor is water. That's one. The second limiting factor is the Arabs. The real big question is what happens to the Arabs when a zombie apocalypse starts.
What, they don't become
they get
zombies?
infected.
They're already zombies, or what? I don't know. Are Arabs different?
Mhm.
No Arab zombies? I don't know. This is news to me. I am unfamiliar with the genetics of Arab zombies.
Yeah, I don't mean when they become zombies. I mean those that remain human.
Right.
What will they decide to do?
Well, they always
Because
do,
they have
isn't it?
absolutely no loyalty.
Right, but I mean that
anyone
that
except
hasn't
for their own
changed since
clan.
since 700 AD till today. They do the same stuff, don't they? I don't see how it's. What you mean is they'll have more free range. Is that what you're talking about?
Yes, there's that.
Okay.
And again, there's also the military, which is also an interesting question what they'll do because the Israeli military is very powerful.
Yeah.
Politically, socially, and I mean, they have a lot of weapons.
Yeah. So I would guess they would they would fence off their area and like keep it clean of zombies. I would guess.
Probably, and there's also there's like a faction within the Israeli police, which is the border guard, Magavnikim. If you ever want to see like real brutalist shit, look up the Israeli border guard. Those are the people who.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm pretty sure that they will control Jerusalem after 2 weeks into a zombie apocalypse.
Yeah.
They're the guys who will actually be running Jerusalem.
Right. Yes.
How long do you think it would take you to like group up? Because surely that's one of the biggest factors in this, right? You can only lone wolf it for like a few days, a couple of weeks, but you have to find some kind of group to hook up with. How would you go about doing that?
For me, that's a really big problem because I've basically been alienated from most of my friends here.
Because of the COVID stuff?
Or? Partially, and also because of the Catholicism. I mean, I'm completely out. There's no.
All right. That's pretty tough.
It's,
Could you leverage your inner Jew and just wear a yarmulke like it's a bulletproof vest for a couple of weeks?
I haven't worn one of those for since I turned 23, I think.
I mean, if you want to be really Jewish Catholic about it, you can always hide your rosary underneath the yarmulke, right? So it's the best of both worlds.
The thing is, I mean, the average, Joe Jew doesn't care that I'm Catholic. They don't care. It becomes a problem with friends because I no longer involve myself in debauchery and other pastimes, which used to be my what I do with them.
Right.
So that doesn't happen anymore.
Well, talking about that, apart from my couple of loyal henchmen, which will be not here for about a month or so, or maybe more, my strategy would be I've got really thick fucking walls and pretty small windows. So I reckon if I had some weapons, or if I got some weapons, I reckon I could lone wolf until I ran out of ammo, even if there's a zombie wave, because between my wife and myself, I reckon we can cover every uh, opening through which a zombie potentially could get through, and there isn't many of them. The windows are
Yeah.
pretty small. They've
Although the
got
thing
like
I think
strong
is
bars.
that if you're dealing with a slow zombie apocalypse, in the end, your goal is, once the humans have died off and the zombies have rotted away a bit,
Yeah.
so they're even slower than they were at the beginning. That's when you need to start making your plan to get out of the cities.
Yeah, I'm already out of the city, so my plan would be to protect myself from the roaming herds of actual humans that would be left, armed humans. That would
Yep.
be the thing I'd be worried about. And yeah, in that respect, I think my approach should be to simply go directly to the people that, neighbors, because they're pretty scattered over here. I mean, there's pretty vast areas of tracts of land with no houses, and the neighbors are few and far between. The tiny little village at, not far from us, but most of those people would be zombies. But I mean, I reckon I could clear out that whole slow zombies. I could clear out that whole village, just the hammer and an axe, whatever. Wouldn't worry me too much, because even if you get chased down by like 10 zombies, I just sit in an alcove and hammer axe, hammer axe, hammer axe. I'd be done.
Yeah,
There isn't thousands of them.
Is like, what's the lifespan of these zombies then? Because surely that's a huge factor. Because if you only had to like last a year or so, you could probably live off of all the food stores you have in your house, local neighbors. You can go and raid the local town.
Yeah. So let's
If they're not
assume.
going to decay for
Yeah, that's a
years or
good
something,
question. So again, if I'm taking it from
territory.
various films and whatever, I think it's a few years, because we have to assume that for whatever reason they kind of half rot, but not really. They superficially rot, but maybe their tendons and skeletons stay intact. So I think we have to assume that, like, I don't know, let's say 3 years, with some exceptions that
Okay.
go to like 5-6 years, and most of them maybe get degraded after a year and a half, something like that.
So here's the thing, because I think from speaking to both of you, all three of us are slightly on the spectrum. So one of the questions like worth raising is how much food do you reckon there is in, say, like the local couple of neighborhoods or in the local town, like in fridges, cupboards, tins, all that kind of stuff? Because if you were going to just go with that, what kind of time frame does that buy you?
Well, I've got that pretty down pat, because when the fake pandemic happened in London, we stocked up on fucking everything. I literally did not need to step outside of the house for anything for like 4 months. And that was pretty easily
Nice.
done, because we got delivered everything to the house within like a week or two, because we kind of we were way ahead of the other people. So we had bought everything. We didn't hit any like, oh, there's no more toilet paper. We had the toilet paper. We had the water. We had the food. And in fact, we still had some of that food left over, because some of it was like sort of food that you really want to use in emergencies only. We left a bunch of it, and we still had a bunch of it like a year later. So, but the way we'd planned it, if it was in a serious situation, we could have easily stayed in there for like, stretched it out to 6 months. The first thing that would have probably run out would have been water, if the taps went, because obviously we wouldn't have used the bottled water until the taps stopped working. But I reckon we could have done easy 6 months. So it doesn't take that long. I mean, if you I don't know what kind of cars you guys have or were used to, whatever, but if you take like I don't know, we've got a car for the kids that handles 3 kids, quite a big sort of vehicle. About 4 or 5 trips of that, you've got enough food for like at least a few months. If you get a big van, 1 trip with a big van, you've got enough food for a year. So in terms of volume, it's not a huge amount of food.
And you know that the dumbasses will take all the stuff that's easy to grab, like the sweets.
I wouldn't touch any of that shit. It would be cans. It would be cans as much as I can, and then the rest
peanut
would be
butter,
stuff.
oatmeal. I think
Yeah.
something that would
Hoax
be
is
really good, like if you knew that a zombie apocalypse is coming, and you knew it like a year in advance, you could probably also stack up on like a gainer powder and protein powders and stuff like that.
Yeah. But I mean, like you can
'Cause that
live.
stuff is very weight efficient.
Look, the whole of China survives on a bowl of rice a day or whatever. So, if you
Yeah,
get
but
big bags
you
of
know the whole
rice,
thing.
you're
I was
pretty
actually
fast.
started reading. Like I found some remnants of. I think you were calling him Texas Arcane, the guy who had the Volt blog.
Yeah.
So I was some of it was saved by the Wayback Machine.
Yes. There's actually a link that a guy sent me that's got most of his stuff. So ping me an email. I'll ping it off to you.
Yeah. One of the things I found interesting there was, he was talking about. I think he was talking about about like one of the things that was like an Achilles heel for the Neanderthals was that they needed quite a lot of food.
Yeah.
Now I don't know how much Neanderthal I have.
Yeah.
But
yeah, you're a big
my
guy.
minimum. Yeah, but my minimum caloric intake for a day is like 2,400, assuming I'm physically active.
Yeah. Yeah, that's an average for
while you're
human-sized people.
Yeah, but then I'm like looking around, and like you see these guys who are like not even 1.80 meters tall, and you're like,
I know.
man, these guys could get along.
Wait,
just
we've
fine
got one
on,
in the
like,
stream.
1,800.
Come on, man.
Yeah.
You've been hunching me around all day. Leave it be.
No, you see, there's a funny story. We gotta tell this story. It's a funny story because Tony believed he was 6 foot, and when Matthew said, "Oh, so he was asked, how tall are you?" And like, 6 foot, and me and the other guy that were there were just like, "No, you're not. I'm 6'2", and the other guy thought he was 6'3", and then we went back to back, and my wife measured that, and we're actually exactly the same height. So he's 6'2" as well, and we're like, "There's no way you're 6 foot because we're both 6'2". So we measured him, and he's like 5'10", and like, I think he was depressed for like 2 weeks. He was just like, "Oh no, I've got to change my profile."
Yeah, my entire reality has just been shattered. I thought converting to Catholicism was bad, but that just ruined it for me. But what was even worse than that was a small incident a couple of days later, because G and I were having some dinner, and I helped his wife do the dishes afterwards. And after I'd done the dishes, I left all the dishes to dry on the side with all the suds on them. And both his wife and G came up to me and pointed out that you're supposed to wash the suds off the dishes before you like clean them and put them back in the cupboard. And I was just baffled by the entire concept. And they're like, "Yeah, you've just been eating soap for the whole of your life." And it's like, God, it explains so much.
And then after that, when he's like, "Oh, is it a bit dry?" Like my wife is like vicious. She goes, "Is it a bit dry? Would you like a bit of like, fairy liquid on your steak?"
Yeah, she didn't pass me olive oil. She just passed me the fairy liquid. Oh, she's brutal.
Yeah, no, she comes up with some good ones. So
All right. So how about we modify the surviving a city, slow zombies with a warlord? Let's modify the scenario.
okay, give us the hypothetical here.
But what do you mean?
Okay,
Like
the
the zombie
hypothetical
is
is
a
okay.
warlord? Or...
No, let's say, okay, I'm in Jerusalem, but the zombies have come, and some warlord very quickly just takes power and takes over the city.
Yeah.
Same happens to the Kurgan in London, and to Tony wherever it is he lives.
Right. Okay. So what's the question? Are we the warlord or are we the guy?
Nah, we're just a dude.
Right. Well,
are we like
how does the existence of a warlord change the survival scenario?
Oh well, I reckon I'd go like hook up with a warlord. I'd be like, "Hey, I'm here. I can do shit. What do you need? Clear out more land."
I mean, yeah.
Would the brutality level of the warlords like change your approach to it? Like if you knew he was going around raping and pillaging left, right, and centre, and you thought he was going to be like a brutal dude, would that change? Would you then maybe think about steering away from him? Or
I think that whoever was warlord would be a brutal dude. There's no doubt about that at all. There's no way some like goody two shoes is going to be a warlord. He's going to be a bad guy. Now the question is what you're saying. He's going to be a bad guy anyway, but I don't think a completely evil guy who's just raping and murdering women and children is going to survive very well, just because enough people are going to want to kill him that eventually someone will take him out. And that's not to say he won't, decide to rape and pillage 20% of all the women that they meet or whatever. But that's to be expected. So my approach to it would be like, just get into the group that's safe, let's say. Especially, if I had kids and a wife, whatever, first I'd try and observe it from far if I have that opportunity. And then I'd try and join it somehow, as long as it's a safer place for my kids and whatever. If we're talking just me on my own, I don't give a shit. I like warlord, not warlord. I just walk into his camp and go like, okay, bitch, who's the big guy here? I can do shit, and I can either be on your side or I can be a problem. It's up to you. So, and obviously, if he's a warlord, he's gonna have roving bands of guys that are armed. So you wouldn't do that directly. But again, if I'm on my own, it doesn't matter where I am. If I was on my own in London, and the zombie apocalypse happens, within a week, I would have a sniper rifle, I would have an HK, and I would have handguns. Because the cops in London have them. And after a week, I would have them. So, it doesn't matter if he's a warlord. As long as I can see him from 800
there would be
meters.
a lot of weapons lying around in Jerusalem.
Yeah. So,
like every security guard has a handgun.
That's it.
And a lot of the soldiers take their
rifle home,
16 or whatever it is back home when they're on leave, because it's considered a personal weapon.
Yeah.
So there'd actually be a lot of guns and a lot of ammo just lying around.
So yeah, I wouldn't
it's
be.
a point to remember.
I don't think I'd be worried about a warlord. It would be, obviously the bad part about that is if this warlord just like keeps expanding by taking out other humans, and you happen to be in his path, then that's the downside. And depends, what is he looking for? Because ultimately a warlord guy needs soldiers. So, as a soldier, I'm a pretty efficient guy. But if you want me to be your soldier, you got to give me some shit back, So that there is a trading element there. And then, as you say, your comfort level with how brutal he is, mine has always been very clear. I have a very clear line. And if he crossed that line, then my personal attitude would be just get close enough to him that one day he's just looking the wrong way when I'm got my knife in my hand, and whoop, now I'm the warlord. That's what it would be.
Let's be honest. If you were in that situation where there was a warlord anyway, wouldn't that kind of be plan A? Because at the end of the day, you do still want to create a Catholic fiefdom. So if someone's already set up the army.
Yeah, but it's not so easy, because once you take him out, his brother, 10 cousins, and whatever, 15 other guys that he's been raping all the random chicks with that are all on his side, they wouldn't want to shift to the... Yeah, there would be. So that's what I'm saying. You got to be a bit smart about it, You got to poison a lot of them at one go, or just take one out at a time when you're out hunting. It's like, oh, zombies got him. Shit, dude. Well, let's replace him with this guy. He's a good guy. He fights, and he's one of my guys. It'll take time.
Find a manual on distilling grain alcohols. Get them all drunk. Classic.
Yeah, you gotta. And when that takeover happened, you'd have to be more brutal than he was for at least enough of a period of time to control the whole situation. And the guys that are with you would have to understand that and be just as brutal or more than the guys that they just replaced. Because there's going to be, whenever there's a shift of power, a change of power like that, you have to clamp everything down. And when you do that...
That's the next question then. Like, even if you're in this warlord situation, and we've already said that you'd join his hypothetical clan, the moment you join, would you still try and build your own little sub-communities within that clan?
Bet your ass.
Kind of
course. I try and, sound people out, team up, like figure out what's going on. And that's assuming that's a warlord that is joinable or that I want to join. There are certain type of warlords that I wouldn't join. And I would just try and take them out from a distance or get the hell out of their way if they're too powerful. So yeah,
Well,
your
that's the
question.
second hypothetical, right? So yeah, so if you had a situation where there wasn't just a warlord, but joining him wasn't an option, how does that change your survival strategy?
Get a
Right.
good
So
sniper
let's say
rifle.
you're like, yeah. So
Yeah. No one's got enough people that you can't look at him from a kilometer away. And even if he does, his people don't have people around them that you can't look at them from a kilometer away. And look, like, it's a very educational book. If you read Carlos Hatchcock's 99 Confirmed Kills, he was a Marine sniper in the Vietnam War, and it's very, I would say that is one of the better books about sniping and that sort of thing, because Vietnam War was, late 60s, early 70s, and it was at the time when the technology was a lot less than it is now, and he used the 3006. Now, as a kid growing up, I used the 3006 a lot. It was like in fact, even as a kid, as a 9, 10, 12-year-old kid, we thought of the 3006 as a kind of a pussy weapon, because we were used to like 375 and bigger guns. But what he did is very analogous to a zombie apocalypse. And, 2 snipers held off a platoon. Snipers are scary, scary people to a bunch of soldiers that don't have sniper weapons, that don't know where. Just keep in mind that if somebody's shooting at you from 800 K away, you don't hear the shot. You get hit first. The sound of the shot comes to you after you've been whacked by a bullet. So you're standing there with your buddies, and all of a sudden your officer, his head becomes pink mist, and you're like, what the fuck just happened? And then you hear a bang, and you're like too shocked to know what's going on, where did it come from, and that's it. He's not going to shoot twice from the same position, unless he's dumb. And then the next day, a few hours later, maybe 30 minutes later, maybe there's more than one sniper. You don't know how many there are. Another guy's head turns into pink mist. What the fuck do? You bunker down. And how long do you bunker down for? A day? 6 hours? A week? What if after 2 days one of your guys sticks his head out and boom, pink mist? What do you do then? You gotta bombard that whole area, call in airstrikes, fucking start all your guys shooting in that general direction, because you don't know where it came from. Now, modern day, if it's a proper army with proper information, yeah, they can sort of pinpoint where the shot came from. But even then, you're talking about, high-level military stuff that is focused on one little area. In my case, in the middle of nowhere, they wouldn't have access to that stuff. Because if you're in the middle of nowhere, if you're, I don't know, in maybe Jerusalem, and maybe in a key place in Jerusalem, maybe the Israeli military would have all that kind of equipment because they'd be trying to protect Jerusalem.
Yeah.
They would know.
I'm pretty
There's
sure that
a sniper shot happens there.
If there was a warlord here in Jerusalem,
yeah, it would be the military.
Either military or the border guard. Those are, if there ever was a warlord scenario here, you'd actually probably have one of each, one from the military itself, one from the border guard, and there'd probably be a rather uneasy alliance between them. And that would actually be something I could play, because you'd have 2 warlords trying to claim the same territory.
So you go back to Akira Kurosawa. Yes. The film, the Japanese film of Yojimbo.
Yojimbo. Isn't Yojimbo a Japanese bodyguard?
Exactly.
I think that's what a Yojimbo is, right?
Who plays both sides, and then it got remade as a film with Bruce Willis in it in 1920s America or something. So yeah, we got a couple of funny things in the chat.
It's a title for bodyguard, I think.
Yeah, but that's the name of the film as well.
Oh, okay.
Is the Japanese? Oh, sorry, the Japanese director who did Seven Samurai, Yojimbo, and something Ran, I think. Ran was a brutal.
I probably
film.
Should watch those classic Japanese movies.
Oh,
I just don't
awesome.
like movies.
You must watch Seven Samurai. because it is as it looks like it's made today. Even the jokes in it are like quick-witted, funny. You know, that he's way ahead of everybody else. We got a couple of funny comments in the chat. Almondo Stoke says, "What about the Israeli female zombies? They're more dangerous, and the Arabs will co-op with the zombies."
Yeah, I mean, we already talked about mocha-skinned, charcoal-haired, mixed-race women. I don't think there's a whole lot more to add.
That's dangerous zombies, man. You don't want those. Did you guys see the film? What's it called? Is it Zombie Town, or the one with Woody Harrelson in it, and the guy that played Zuckerberg in the Facebook film? I don't know what his name is. I think it's called Zombie
useless
Town.
when it comes to movies.
But it's hilarious. It starts out that he's like a nerd, and there's like a girl that he really likes, and then he's like really into her, and the zombie apocalypse happens, so he finally gets his courage up and goes to her. It's like, oh look, there's a zombie apocalypse, so we should like kind of do it. And she's already a zombie, but like I can't remember now if in the film if he actually does her as a zombie in a way that he doesn't get bitten because she's still kind of fresh, you know, or something like that. It's just totally fucked up. It's just you can kind of see it, you know, hot mochaccino chick. Yeah, she just turned it like a zombie like an hour ago. She's not really bitey yet, you know.
All right.
Yeah.
How about we twist the let's twist the scenario a bit. I want to put two twists on the scenario. One, we have fast zombies.
Oh, that's scary shit.
And two, there's a supernatural element to the zombies. It's not just a virus anymore. There's something supernatural happening.
Yeah, that's why they stay alive
that's causing
longer.
the zombies.
Yeah. But what? It's still by being bit, right? I mean, that's a whole zombie classic thing. You can't change that.
Yeah, but let's also add in being scratched.
Ooh.
And killing them requires massive trauma to the head.
So you're basically talking about 28 Days Later, which was very well made. I think that was a scary film because if a zombie's blood sprayed into your eye or whatever, you'd become a zombie. It was like a viciously viral, infectious disease. So now, are you saying like that?
More supernatural, so I think it should be more symbolic.
Okay, so
Again,
scratch and biting.
Any wound that draws blood.
Ooh, so that's like werewolves. If you lose like a third of your hit points, you become a werewolf.
Something like that. And again, to destroy these zombies, you need
let's just be clear here. Any wound that they cause with their physical body to you that draws blood. Right.
Yes.
Right. Yeah, that's scary. You want guns then. Because in hand to hand, you'll get scratched and shit. And they're fast zombies.
So here's the question.
So are they also supernaturally strong? Because the fast zombies in 28 Days Later, they were basically like manic people. So they had the strength, they were stronger than normal people because they were just like full on crazy.
Yeah, but not supernaturally strong, just manically strong.
That's kind of supernaturally strong, dude. I'm not kidding. If you know, like I've done enough Systema to know what the human body can actually do, and it's fucking scary, man. I've punched through doors and shit, but I'm talking about like full-on oak wooden doors. There are a guy who's like his brain is gone to the point where he can punch through that. The Nazis did some fucked up experiments, man. There's like a drug that you can give. They can punch a metal spike into the wooden sleepers of railway lines. I mean, your fucking hand is gone, but you've now punched a railway spike through a sleeper. So that scary level of danger shit, you don't want to deal with that with a hammer or an axe. You want like a shotgun with slugs in it, and actually
explosives and
you want the, what do you call those things? You want the Nitro Express as a shotgun. It's like it just like wham divides them in two as soon as they get hit, sort of thing.
Reminds me
or the Gatling gun.
Army.
The Gatling gun from
phosphorus munitions.
Yeah.
There's an interesting. I don't know if I think it's amusing. So because you're not supposed to use phosphorus, it's not labeled as phosphorus. It's labeled as I think spreading smoke.
Oh, that's such a gravelly type of, yeah.
I'm pretty sure the American army and every army in the world does the same thing.
Oh yeah,
They
yeah.
have phosphorus munitions, and it's just labeled as something innocuous.
Yeah, something like running smoke, because that's what happens once you hit a guy. It's like, okay, so Zip Zap has got a strange question. Could you hypnotize a zombie? What is left in terms of brain control? That's a very good question. Because if you can hypnotize the zombies, well, I'm the warlord. I'll own all of them. I'll take over nations before they figure out what's going on. And to be
I
fair,
mean, if all that's
If you could
left is what,
hypnotise
hunger and
zombies, why would you
aggression,
not just
is
put
that
them in
something you
like a
can work
cinema
with as a
and film
hypnotist?
Friends for a week?
oh sorry, you're both talking at the same time. Let's have Tony go. He's being very
Sorry.
quiet.
I was just going to say, if you can hypnotise zombies, then why not just make an outdoor cinema and film like Friends for a week, and then you can just go out the back door.
Okay. I mean, if I
Huh.
you can hypnotize chickens, you can hypnotize animals, so
Yeah.
it's a good question. But like, how would you go about hypnotizing the zombie though? Like, probably with a sound or something. If they're like Walking Dead type zombies, you want to have a sound that just like fucks them up, and then you want to, I don't know.
But even with normal zombies, though, you can still like distraction is still a thing, though, right? So you like make a loud sound on the other side
Yeah.
of the street. You'll still
Yeah,
draw their
in The
attention,
Walking
that
Dead,
kind
they
of thing.
had that. They had the sound was like what attracted them, which pretty much in every
Is
zombie movie.
hypnotizing is like a next level thing, right? Where you can control them, perhaps.
Basic hypnosis, or we're talking a deep hypnosis? How long would that take? It's interesting stuff. I don't know. That's
I'd say enough that you can direct them.
yeah, but how long does it take to do that? That's the question. So if it takes like
How
a
long
day,
would
But I mean,
sit still for?
as a sort of semi-serious question, if all that's left of the human mind is what, from a zombie, is what, aggression and hunger,
mm-hmm.
is there, and what, their ability to perceive like the surroundings, is that enough to like condition someone?
Well, yeah. I mean, I think that was the premise of what was the British film about zombies? Was hilarious with that British
Shaun of the
act.
Dead?
Yeah, Shaun of the Dead, yeah. And they basically end up, his friend becomes a zombie, and they just end up keeping him in the backyard, and then they've got like all the social justice thing on the news, like zombies are people too, and you know the undead should have rights, and like they've got like their friend chained up in the backyard, and they just throw him a steak now and then, and he's just like, argh! And like they know like the limit. Kids, don't play near John. You know, John's a zombie now. You got to stay behind the line. You know, and it's very British. It's a hilarious film because it starts out when like the zombie apocalypse happens, and like the average Londoner just doesn't fucking know it because Monday on the bus, and it's just like everybody's like fucking recovering from like being drunk, and there's like some lady like starts to eat another guy's head in the bus, but he's like also half drunk. And everybody just thinks it's two guys kissing or whatever, so it's just like, it's very well made. It's very funny, and then, so yeah, you know, slow zombies. I actually think that was a more realistic slow zombie film than many slow zombie films because it's like, how's this a threat to you? You know, you can see the guy coming a mile away. It's just like, yeah, keep him in the backyard. He was a good mate.
Yeah, but the thing is, most people can't even jog for they can't even maintain a jog for 6 minutes.
Shit, I got a broken foot right now.
To them.
I can't jog. I've got a bust foot right now. I don't need to jog. I just need a hammer or a rock. And a good strong punch will probably break their neck off and not let them fucking twist. I mean,
Or just, briskly walk the other way.
yeah, they're slow. That's the whole point. You have to be retarded to get eaten by a slow zombie. And mind you, I have been shocked. I've posted on Social Galactic recently that just about everybody I know has taken the fucking death jab in London. And I'm like, what the fuck? These are people who have spoken about these things. My wife wasn't even shocked. She was like, nah, not even surprised. I was like, fuck, who's left? And I sent a message to Vox, and then he called me up, and it was like, I'm not even surprised, dude. I was like, look, I get it. Most people are idiots, but I knew these people. I thought like I spent some time with them. I thought they had a half an intelligence. And his comment to me was hilarious. He goes, "Look, Giuseppe, I need to tell you, I have pissed off a lot of people over the years by telling them that most people are idiots, and that includes you. Just because I like them doesn't mean they're not idiots." I was like, oh, that is such a sad way. I'm starting to understand why he's so patient, because he has zero expectations. It's quite tragic, really.
It's like the longer you live, like the pie of most people are idiots. There's like the slice that's supposed to be the people who are not idiots. That slice just shrinks and shrinks and shrinks.
It's a fucking thin line, dude. It's a razor thin line. I'm telling you.
Yeah. And
it's like,
what I'm finding more and more interesting, that what actually makes a person not an idiot is not his IQ.
Yeah.
It's like the ability to just look at what is and not look away.
It's the perception
That's
of
reality.
reality.
I can tell.
Absolutely right. Absolutely right. IQ means fuck all. Well, it's the way I think I summarized in the Social Galactic thread I started with that comment was, now you see why hypnosis is so powerful. Because essentially, we're talking about people that have been indoctrinated. Wally, you've got a really nice picture that's skewed on the background, but you're like half your head is off the stream. If you can move a little bit to your left. That's it.
What do I need? Can I move the phone?
You move your phone to your right, or you move yourself to the left. Either way. I'm talking about, that's it. There you go. Yeah, perfect. And
I'm just using this second-hand chair I found for free, and
oh well, now we're looking at your. I think it's a plug on your window seating or something. Okay, now we're just looking at your shoulder and a piece of beard. I don't know if you can see yourself in the thing.
I can. I'm trying to move things around.
But the thing is, because I've got 3 people on,
desk.
you need to move. Yeah, that's it. And now just drop your head a little bit or lift the camera. Now you're in the center. That's it. Now perfect. That's it. Just stay over there. Oh, and you're straightened up. He's become a warlord. He's readjusted the. Oh no. There. That's it.
You need to get one of those like clamps you put in the car for your phone. So
Right.
I can just clamp it to the side of my computer screen.
Oh, I use a bunch of books, and the booze is getting thin here.
I mean, that's what I'm doing. I have like a discarded carton box.
Yeah.
The box my phone came in, and the box that I keep my rosary in.
Excellent. So there's a couple of comments here. People saying that I would be the warlord. I thank you for your trust, and you should all be part of the Kurganate if that's what you think. Move to Italy and come be part of the Kurganate. Michael, no, I'm serious. Look, if I had 10,000 men that would just do what I told them, yeah, I swear to God, I am not fucking kidding. We would have the Papal States back within a month. All of them. The Vatican would be cleansed. It would take 2 years to cleanse the Vatican spiritually. But I mean, physically, it would be cleansed within a week.
It's something I wish I had the mental peace to do this. I'd like to sit down and write like a story. I don't know if it would be good for like a long story, but like 2 orders that would have to be instated for cleansing the Catholic Church.
Mm-hmm.
Like the first would be like an order of specialized exorcists who are, whose job is going to be to cleanse Rome.
Yes.
It's like these are people who are they're going to spend the next 3 years cleansing Rome, and then they're going to spend the rest of their life in a monastery, just secluded and dealing with the PTSD of having to cleanse Rome.
Yeah.
And then you'd have a different order of, I don't know what you'd call them, like the Grey Wardens or something.
Oh, I know
whose
what
job will be to oversee all the Novus Order, hierarchy, because all of them, they're all going to have to be, imprisoned.
Oh,
Even if you find, like one or two, even if you find like 1 or 2 penitents among them.
I disagree with you entirely. I think we already have the orders. It's called the physical branch of the church, the physical arm, which was traditionally emperors, knights, barons, landed gentry, the laity. Peasant with a pitchfork, we already have that. And then on the other side, you need the spiritual warriors. That's the priests, the bishops, and so on. And absolutely right. I mean, I think it would take longer than 3 years because literally every stone in the Vatican would have to be exorcised like a few times over just to make sure. I mean, I think you'd need holy water in like those helicopters that put out fires to cleanse the Vatican. But the physical cleansing, that could be the laity, and that would take like a day. Just give me 100 men a day. A day. It would be messy. You know, that you would need water, a lot of water and soap afterwards. But in a day, you could clean out the Vatican. And I absolutely do not agree that they should be imprisoned.
You know that your priest would not agree to that.
My priest is pretty hardcore. He would be like, keep in mind, I had like a 5-hour car journey with this guy, and I threw everything at him, man. I just wanted to see, like, you know, how much time in purgatory am I spending? And I asked him this. I said, look, I want to talk to you about like pedophiles. And he goes like, you know, you could see his, like, what? Like, yeah. You know, I know killing is kind of not the way of God, but I also know, you know, that it's acceptable under certain circumstances. And I'm just thinking, pedophiles should be killed. They should be outright, and I believe they should be burnt at the stake because I am trying to be a good Catholic, so I want them to have the opportunity to repent for their sin.
I have 2 questions, though. Do you let the pedophiles' victims watch? That's 1. And 2, do you use an accelerant?
No,
like, do you
no,
douse them in
no,
benzene first?
no. You see, let me explain. In Italian, the word for faggot is finocchio. Finocchio is also the word of fennel. Fennel is a tuber that you eat, right? Which I quite like.
Oh.
Right. But fennel, if you let it grow enough, the shoots that come out of the ground eventually become kind of woody. It burns very slow. You're starting to see the relationship of why gay people are called, you know, the slang term is finocchio, because they were burnt at the stake, supposedly, with this wood that burns slower. Now that sounds cruel, and it kind of is, but it's giving them more time to repent of their sin of pedophilia, because keep in mind that the Inquisition only burnt 163 or 65, I can't remember. It's in my book anyway. Pedophiles, you know, they're called, sodomites. Yes, these guys weren't just like, you know, 2 dudes in their 20s that like kissed. That's not what happened. 163 or 5 pedophiles that got burnt at the stake were men that had repeatedly raped little boys. And as far as I'm concerned, they deserve to be burned. And everybody that hid them deserved to be burned. And I had this conversation with my priest. The guy who baptized me, baptized my kids, baptized my wife, married us. And his comment after, and I laid it on exactly as I'm doing here. They should be burnt at the stake to give them a chance to repent, but they absolutely should be removed completely from society and turned to ash. And it should be public so that other people that are thinking like them get the idea that, oh, if I do that, that's what's going to happen to me, and you know, it'll help them change. His comment, and I, as close as I can remember to verbatim, well, yes, in any case, some people do need to be removed from society. So now he's a much more spiritually evolved human being than I am, and so on. But in my opinion, with the Vatican, what should happen, and the Vatican, all those guys, St. Peter's Square, sticks, a bunch of fennel wood under them, that's it. But, you know, your average Novus Ordo priest that I met one that I thought was a decent guy. They get to go, you know, into a camp. And they get to go through a narrow passage where they get told, here are your options. 1, you tell the truth, you repent, you admit everything that you knew. You will be, obviously, never be allowed to be any kind of a priest. You talk, you tell on all the other guys that you know and what they did. And we'll write it all down. If your crimes, once we match with all the other guys whose stories we're going to hear, are insufficient for the death penalty, you will be struck down from being any kind of a priest or whatever. And I'm thinking we should probably tattoo them, because as in Inglourious Bastards, you kind of want to know what these guys were. You know, you don't want them to take off the uniform and not know. I don't know if you guys have seen the film Inglourious Bastards.
So
You know?
inverted cross across the face.
Yeah. Well, no, he like cuts the Nazi symbol on their forehead, right? So that even if he doesn't kill them, he knows that you'll always know. I don't know, something. We need to tag these fuckers so that they never go work with kids or anything like that again. But I wouldn't necessarily burn all of them at the stake, because there are some of them that are, I think, are genuinely stupid. You know, and so you have to measure the level of their crime. But no way that any of them ever get to be a Catholic priest. They are absolute. You're either knowingly criminal or you're criminally incompetent, and neither one is good enough for you to be a priest. So we're straight away from the zombies.
Who it was I heard from, but I recall hearing from a priest like on YouTube that being a Catholic priest is like being God's sewage worker.
I think that was probably a Novus Ordo priest, because if you ask my priest, what he said is like, you know, when you get baptized, you get like a mark, right? A spiritual mark. And then you get confirmation. It's like saying, yeah, I'm now not just baptized, but I know what I'm doing. And a priest gets another sign, which is like, again, a spiritual like mark, which is, and he says some priests ends up in hell. And it's hell for those guys is even worse, because they've got all the 3 stamps and they're like, you know, they have no excuse.
Yeah.
They're almost like angels.
Because a priest or monk or sister,
yeah,
you know, they either go straight to heaven or straight to hell.
That makes sense, actually. Let's see, I'm just quickly going to read. I would assume that the warlords of a zombie apocalypse would be gang leaders or military. Yeah, Michael Pecker has got a good point. Daniel Pereira says grain alcohol would be the perfect poison. I'm not sure what he's referring to. I'm drinking some grain alcohol right now. Yeah, putting some zombie blood into Bloody Mary. Ugh. Rose mist. Ugh. This Almondo guy is sick. Ran was great, but it's more like a fairy tale. It is a little bit, you know, it's very, Ran is a brilliant film by Akira Kurosawa, the Japanese director. It is a bit, but if you think when it was made, it was very cinematic, and it was, I think it was good. I liked it. And there's another one, by the way, which he did, and I don't remember the title, but apparently that's what Star Wars is based on. Because you know that the Grabblers don't think up of anything new, they just steal shit. And I can't remember the name, but it's got that same guy, the same actor that was in Yojimbo. He was the actor in that one. It's something like The Castle or something like that. It's like he's defending some princess that's supposed to get somewhere, so it's like quite a cool story. I only saw half of that. I need to get the DVD.
Star Wars is basically like a Westerner plus a samurai movie.
Yeah. Well, it is a samurai movie. Also, you notice the helmet of Darth Vader and all that?
Yeah.
Not a coincidence.
Absolutely. I need to find this. I think I have it somewhere on my computer. There's like a dude basically did the whole cast of the Star Wars movies in classical Japanese art.
Well, the thing is, Star Wars, the story, is essentially the same story of this Akira Kurosawa film whose name I don't know.
Oh.
Yeah. It's basically just transposed into space and like add some fancy shit, but basically the story is the same story. Foster Child says, oh, Nationalist says, go somewhere cold. I think I'll take my chance with the zombies. I really hate the fucking cold, dude. I mean, I get it. You know, a zombie's like dead, so we just freeze up. Did you see, what's that other brilliant series? I can't remember what it's called. But it's got this guy who survived. He's the only guy that gets bitten by a zombie and he doesn't turn into zombies. And then there's a sniper guy who's like, he wants to get to 10,000 zombies and he just keeps shooting and he keeps his tally up. And he's like, yeah, I'm like at 4,700. And it's a TV series. And there's a black woman who's like kind of the leader. It's actually pretty funny. Anyway, and there's a guy who's who's like stuck in the North Pole or something, is on Arctic station. He's the only survivor, and then because of like all atom bombs going off, the ice melts, and this ancient plane that had been downed and fell there, or people died in it, and all the zombies, you know, all the dead bodies that were like frozen in the ice now become zombies and come out after him. It's like, except when summer comes out, you know.
I don't know if you have the time for this, but I know you really like, well, Musashi.
Yeah.
So there's actually a manga series, a very high quality manga series called Vagabond, which is a fictionalized and slightly mythicized retelling of Musashi's life. And
I'm going to look out for that one.
I don't know if you'll ever get the opportunity to find it, but if you do, it's highly recommended.
Well, I read, and I think I sent you to my dad. Damn it, it's really good. Lone Wolf and Cub manga series, brilliant, very good. Stock up on hockey and motocross shielding, Peter Child. Okay, Poster Child, that's pretty good. White Phosphorus, Daniel Pereira. Almonda says, I'm not sure if you can hypnotize creatures with a dead brain. But is it dead? I mean, it's got to have some function, because otherwise they wouldn't move. Animals have a soul. I agree. Just some people saying hello. Fido is a hood zombie flick. Okay, I don't know what that means, but it sounds interesting. Guys, would you consider a Bird Box as a zombie movie? I don't think I saw Bird Box. Any one of you saw it? Oh wait, Bird Box is the one with what's her name? Sandra Bullock, where you have to be blind, otherwise, if you see something, you become suicidal or some shit. I don't know. I refuse to watch that film, and I think it had something to do with like pedos. I don't know. That was my sense of it, and I have no idea. Chad says, that's the supernatural power, being able to jog more than 6 minutes.
I'm assuming that Chad, like me, is a slightly larger guy.
I don't know.
And we both probably assume that jogging and running has been invented by manlets and women to torment men of our size.
Probably. Michael Pecker says, I'm curious the legal implications of killing zombies provided society doesn't collapse. Any lawyers here? Well, in theory, they're already dead. So, but I know where you're going with this.
So, do we move away from the fictional part of Zombieland?
Dan Fitton says, who's the attractive man on the right? That's an in-joke. Tony, would you like to respond to your admirer?
I'm just trying to live a good Catholic life, no matter how many men try and draw me away from it.
Good response. Almanda Strokes says, it's the guy from Breaking Bad, Walter White. From zombies to gatos. Nice twist. Cheers, Wooly. It's like in prison.
You know, it's something I've only noticed now. And it's something, I have this feeling now that for the longest time, my brain is actually smarter than I am. What I'd call the pedo gay eyes. You know, that sort of lazy, heavy-lidded eyes, but that expose the upper white?
Yeah.
It seems to almost 100% of the time be an indication that this guy is an absolute pervert. The type, you know, you should push into a bog and forget you've ever seen him.
You know, the thing is, animals, small children, and people like me who, despite my traumatic lifetime, have not quite lost all their innocence, or some neurons are still firing there, you can spot those people. Just a quick interruption. Poster Child and Adam Brown both say that Bran is King Lear, I believe. That's probably correct. So Akira Kurosawa probably stole from Shakespeare, and then, you know, the guy who did Star Wars, Lucas, stole from Akira Kurosawa. Oh, and the name of that
Fortress.
film, Hidden Fortress. That's right. Yeah. Thank you, Aaron. The comic relief guys from Hidden Fortress are the basis for 3PO and R2D2. Yeah. Michael Pecker
No, I
says
actually
Z
want to go here
Nation.
on a
Yes,
tangent
Z
that has nothing
Nation.
to do
That's
with
the
anything
TV
we've been
series.
talking about, but
The TV
go on.
series Z Nation is hilarious. It's a hilarious show, and it's an interesting take on zombies. It is. I really enjoyed that show. And then I got busy and moved, had kids, whatever, so I stopped watching it. But I watched like 3 or 4 series of it. It was really good. Cheers with fire water manufactured on dried plums by my brother, 50 volt. Whoa. 50 volt. Well, he's Polish, but I think he's well into it if it's 50 volt instead of degrees.
Dried plums.
That's only like 5 batteries, dude, Okay, so
Basically dried plum moonshine.
fast
That should
zombies.
actually be quite tasty.
To get back to that thing, fast zombies.
Gents, just 5 seconds. I'm going to nip to the loo quickly, but obviously crack on. But show I'm not just ducking out.
I think where he is, if you're real quiet, you can probably hear him doing it. Dan is probably like this right now. Dan Fitton. So yeah,
I wanted to lament Star Wars, but I don't think it's worthwhile.
I liked Star Wars, the original Star Wars. I like the first
that
3.
too, and I also personally loved with the expanded universe. It also went like into the
comic
into
books.
the era of the Old Republic.
Yeah.
And all that. I absolutely loved all of that.
I like the comic books. I like
Thrawn. Disney with one movie managed to kill my love for Star Wars.
Of course.